Yo, it's July 5th. And today I've been thinking a lot about professionalism and like showing up. Because I recently started posting on LinkedIn, and one of the things that I think about when I post, or I'm thinking about posting there, is because it's like a quote unquote professional network. It's for business, it's like for work purpose, right? So that's LinkedIn. And I always think about like professionalism and how to show up in those spaces because like there is a set kind of like uniform of business or professionalism or all of that. And I always wonder that like, or I don't know if I wonder, but I think about this a lot of like, for me, I am not a fan of all of that kind of like the dressing up. Like I did that, right? When I first graduated, and it makes me think of like professionalism as another mask that we wear, because like really like who of all of us are really showing up in like suits and ties and all of this every single day? There are people like that and they enjoy it, and that's what makes them feel comfortable. And at the same time, I can't imagine that they sleep in that, right? Like when you're in your natural state, when you're at your most relaxed, is that really what you are like looking like wearing? I would guess no. Like there are times when you want to go and unwind and just relax and be comfortable. And is there a specific reason that you need to like be in those clothes? Like if anybody knows, like I would be really interested to understand the history there, or kind of like where all of that came from. But as far as I can understand, it seems like a system of control. It's basically just to separate people into categories and groups that um, it's almost like a shorthand or like a club to say that, you know, you need to have a dress shirt, have a tie, have a suit, have a jacket, so that you can be respected in this particular space. So basically, it's barring the entry of people who don't have access to that or don't traditionally dress like that. It's almost like learning a whole new language. And fine, like sometimes that language is a shorthand so that we can understand how other people kind of like it gives us a shorthand, maybe. When we see other people present in a certain way, we can understand that maybe they're like quote unquote respectable or quote unquote trustworthy. But then look at all of the things, especially like these days. Look at all of the people dressed in fancy clothes, driving around fancy cars, and doing all of those fancy things. Like anybody in uniform, right? Like, does being in a uniform automatically mean that the person is respectable? Because like even people in uniforms, um like any kind of uniforms, and I'm using uniforms to say like, you know, like whatever you wear on a regular basis that's not what you would choose to wear if you were at your natural state. um does that mean you're automatically trustworthy? I don't know. People dressed in fancy suits can do pretty horrible things, right? And it makes me think of that saying that you can't judge a book by its cover. And literally, like looking at the outward appearance of professionalism really feels like we're having to put a cover on ourselves so that we can be judged by it to kind of indicate what's beneath the surface. And that's something that I kind of I struggle with and I struggle against. Because like, you know, as you've seen, this is how I show up, right? Like this is how I show up um, on camera, and this is what's natural and comfortable for me, right? Like I like that people can show up in that way in different spaces. So like for example on TikTok, let's say, TikTok is you know, there's all sorts of there's a whole spectrum of people that show up on there, and a lot of them are just like very similar to me, just showing up in whatever they're uh, in their kind of natural habitats. So what's the importance of that, right? Like, are we putting on like too much emphasis on how we show up? That's one of the challenges for me because, like, I believe, I think that it's important to look past the surface appearance of people because sometimes that can, well, it's multiple things, right? So I've had experiences when I've been in rooms where there are quote unquote successful people or leaders in the industry and all of this. And I can see that they're dressed up fancy and kind of like holding themselves, in that I'm so important kind of way. And then turning around and knowing that the quality of their person doesn't match the appearance that they're trying to present. Which is to say, like, they're not very kind or compassionate, and depending on where they're coming from, they like. I'm thinking about one instance in particular. It was just like it's a person that I had an interaction with prior, and when I wanted, or like when there was something that they could get from me, they were friendly. And then in a space where there were other people, maybe like above my level at the time, um, they were kind of like only had eyes for them, which is fine. Like I don't mind. It just really shows me the quality of that person in that moment. I will qualify it with that because I don't believe that anybody is inherently good or evil. I think that there are many factors that kind of lead to how we express ourselves on a day-to-day basis. And it's not sorrow or pity, but it's understanding that, man, like you seem like you're looking for something, you're searching for something, you're like really looking for like approval outside of yourself. And I'm very familiar with that. um, I've been looking for approval my whole life, and I think um, one of the things is understanding that I can then I have to be good with myself first. I need to be the one to see myself in some certain way, right? So like in my day-to-day life, I have a good image of that. In my professional career, I have a good image of that. And now that I'm branching off into doing something on my own, this is something that's like, I don't know. It's uncertain, right? It's like, how do I step forward? How do I step into those spaces? It's I think the challenge that I'm having is expressing, like, putting everything that I want to say into like a sound bite or a sound clip. That's tough. Like maybe that's just not my lot, right? Like to be I hmm, I don't know, like making claims of like everything, like, oh, I can do this for you and I can do that for you. It's like, no, I can't do anything for you. I can show you how to do it yourself. And that's always been my vibe of like, I think ultimately, like anything that you want to change is up to you. And I can show you the way. I can show you and I can reflect back to you exactly where you are. And oftentimes, a lot of the times, we say exactly what we need or we say exactly what's in our way. And those are the things that are blocking us. And only when it's reflected back from like an outside perspective or shifted in a different way, it kind of clears up, like it becomes a lot more clear. So even in this way of like professionalism, like if you fashion yourself a professional and you think that you need to be looking a certain way to be professional, fine. Um, but doesn't mean that I lack respect if I show up in like this, right? Shorts and a tank top, right? And then it's kind of like a double standard, I guess, because it's like I look at men in the workplace and they're like wearing suits and stuff. And then women are able to wear dresses and blouses and all of this. So, I mean, like that's a lot more comfortable. This is a lot closer to like a dress than a suit, and I would be happy to show up like this, right? But it's not. necessarily respectable. And I don't know, like there's a lot of things there that I don't think that any one group of people, men or women, have it better or worse. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Definitely, there are a lot of things that are unequal. So there are a lot of problems, right? But the only one that I can address are the ones that are affecting me, and I don't want to take away from anybody else in that conversation, right? So ultimately, I think like that line of professionalism affects all of us. It's like it distracts people from people, because I think if I'm thinking about like how to show up and if I'm looking the right way, that takes so much away from the energy that I could put into just being present for another person. I remember like throughout my at school once we were asked to kind of dress up, and I didn't wear a suit, but I wore a jacket and a dress shirt. And by that point I was working where I was working. I don't have a need to wear those types of clothes. I didn't have it, and then like like some of it was ill-fitting because like one of the ways that I cope with stress is like through eating. And um, I was outgrowing my outfits, right? So then I felt like just so uncomfortable all day, and I was not very happy. I was not very happy. I did get a really nice compliment from one of my classmates at the end of the program, who said like, "I don't think I've ever seen you in a suit," and she's meant that in a positive way. And I was like, yeah, yeah, because like screw all of that, right? Not that suits aren't great. Suits look great. It's a really nice like silhouette, and I can see how it makes people feel powerful, makes people feel confident. I can understand all of that. But then we're giving our power away again, right? And that's the core of what I think is really interesting in the work that I'm doing and the work that I'm putting together, which is like understanding how you can show up as yourself in every space. And maybe the problem is that not all spaces are created to accept everyone, right? There's definitely a lot of separation in spaces. We probably moved away from that for some time, and now I don't know if we're like, it seems like we're kind of moving back in towards that. But that might just be what do you call it, like an extinction burst, right? Like this kind of final hurrah. That's my hope, because it's kind of like the loudest voices are the ones that just have been around the longest. But eventually those voices will go away as well. And I think that there's hope. There's hope with every subsequent generation. We're moving more and more towards this openness and this acceptance of things just as they are. And I think that's going to become really, really important in the next number of years. So with this work, I hope with Haizhen, I hope to be part of uh, be part of a movement towards people, individuals, especially leaders who can affect and help others, as well as creatives who are um, creating um, creating a new world for all of us. Helping people in those spaces understand really where they are, to be able to understand their purpose, their own purpose, and to live that in any space that they enter into. To be able to hold the presence of your presence and to stand firm in that, unwavering. When you can start to do that, then everything changes. Everything will change. Because then there's the anxiety goes away, the worries go away, um, and it becomes a lot more easy to be present. Be present. So I think all of this is just like complicated thoughts right now because I'm like, how do I balance off? How do I communicate what I'm here to do with people? I mean, like the easiest way for me has always been just connecting one on one with people and saying, "Hey, like, how's it going? You want to like, are you interested in seeing yourself laid out on a sheet of paper and having insights that you've never expressed verbally ever, just written down, and wondering how something like this could be so accurate?" I mean, like it might not be news to some people because like there are kind of cultures and there are cultures and kind of like not religions, but like cultural backgrounds that ascribe to this. Like I have some friends um, from India and Pakistan, and they look up birth charts and stuff like that, and then um, that's like a part of their culture. In Chinese culture, there is a little bit of that, but I don't know that there is a birth chart. I know that when we got married, um, we consulted, or Adrian's parents consulted I don't even know what they were, but somebody that looked up some kind of looked up birth charts and things and tried to find an auspicious day. And that day was good, and it was so hot. It was right around this time actually, and it was really hot. We were sweating. I remember always sweating. So that's just kind of been on my mind. I'm like, I don't know if I'm spinning my wheels. I'm like rethinking the messaging, especially now, like entering into a different space. So part of it is like continuing to do what I've already been doing, sticking with this plan, getting just like a daily kind of log going. And then at the same time, I feel like I'm in a place where I need to like start making content to like share out like all of these different things. But maybe I don't know, maybe I don't know. I'm sure it'll come together. What feels right in this moment is to continue to do this. And I'm doing my best to detach from outcome, right? To just keep walking one step after another. Like it's, I don't know, this is like not even 30 days into these things, and like I just started to push some messaging out there, and like it's kind of ridiculous to like, it's like if I were to have to go somewhere, I take two steps and I'm like, why am I not there yet? So reminding myself of that, detaching from like an expectation of outcome in like the current moment, and then just remember that time will continue to pass and the messaging will go out, and I'm sure that I will end up somewhere really interesting in a couple months. So we're going to keep forging forward, keep going. Maybe, I don't know, like if I need to be more organized with these things or not, because I think there's, I think I'm happy with just letting this be. Yeah. Okay, that's it.